Welcome back to yet another episode of Lenovo Presents Smarter AI Transforming India in association with ETCIO and Times Techies. I'm Gautam Srinivasan, and in this powerful podcast series, we've been uncovering how AI is revolutionizing industries, driving innovation, and reshaping business strategies in India. So get ready for another deep dive into the future of intelligent transformation. In today's episode, we are focusing on one of AI's most transformative frontiers, healthcare. AI is accelerating medical innovation, transforming diagnostics, personalizing treatments, and improving accessibility. From AI-driven medical imaging to precision medicine and drug discovery, technology is revolutionizing healthcare in profound ways. To dive deeper into this topic, we have with us two distinguished guests with us today. Joining us from Lenovo is Satish Pratapneni, R&D head at Lenovo ISG. Of course, Lenovo has been at the forefront of AI-driven healthcare solutions, ensuring that hospitals, researchers, and pharmaceutical teams have the technology that they need to innovate. Satish, great to have you on board.
Thank you so much, Gautam. I'm very excited to be here.
And so we also with us is Madhu Aravind, Chief Technology Officer at Apollo 24/7. Now, Madhu has extensive experience in healthcare technology and has played a key role in integrating emerging technologies into real-world medical application. Madhu, great to have you on board as well.
Thank you.
Well, let's look at this entire topic from a broad strokes perspective, because one of AI's biggest contributions to healthcare is in diagnostics. AI-powered imaging and radiology tools are enhancing the speed and accuracy of disease detection, enabling early interventions and better patient outcomes. Now, in that context, Satish, can you walk us through how Lenovo is integrating AI into medical imaging and diagnostics, two very promising fields?
Thank you, Gautam. Yeah, absolutely great opportunity to enhance the efficiency around the the diagnostic field itself. And the way Lenovo is going about is by unique computer vision strategy and deep learning, and also image analytics, which are clubbed together to actually make some very informed decisions. So this is actually all backed up with a great infra, which we have pocket to cloud, which is provided by Lenovo, which is starting from the Think systems, Think stations, and Think Agile. So it's a mix of hybrid infrastructure which backs all of this to happen. And actually, this is very exciting because the amount of the pressure on the cost and the efficiency in a country like India is significant. So this is a huge area for us to add value.
Madhu, let me come to you. Apollo 24/7 has been at the forefront of AI-powered healthcare solutions. So how are you leveraging AI-driven technologies to enhance diagnostics and improve patient outcomes?
Yeah. So I think before I get into this diagnostics and patient outcomes, I want you to understand the impact that technology has not had in healthcare landscape in India, right? So unlike industries like retail, banking, so on and so forth, actually the penetration of technology in healthcare has been on the lower side. Also want you to understand that healthcare typically is one of the largest portions of the economy in most countries. Like if you take a country like the US, nearly 18 to 20% of GDP is healthcare. And there also the penetration of technology is on the lower side. So given the advent of AI, the opportunity that is there in healthcare is how to actually make consumers maybe understand their health better, how to manage their chronic conditions better, how to help doctors treat their patients better, how to help hospitals run the hospitals better. All of that is kind of virgin territory that is open right now, which hasn't happened before. So huge opportunity, but it's like a starting from ground zero.
All right. Let's see how personalization is playing a part here, because in the context of AI, that's the idea, right? Bespoke at scale. So Satish, how is Lenovo leveraging AI to provide personalized medicine?
Absolutely, Gautam. The key goal is actually to get the right information to the right person at the right time, and that's where Lenovo is taking a lot of cues on actually genomics. Is one of the areas which we are working with Center of the DNA fingerprinting diagnostics is one of the examples, and where we're looking at some of the rare diseases, how can we solve it? And this is working with our infra solutions, which are working behind the mainstream servers and as well as the HPC clusters, which go behind it. So they make this like 27 to 40x improvement in some of these, the computations, right, compared to the regular genomic data centers. So, huge advantage there. Where we can get to the answers quickly, and it can be very personalized as
and
well.
It's predictive and curative, depending on the context of what the patient outcome is for.
Pretty exciting there. And also the other aspect is the Live is another avatar, which is more of a photorealistic 3D avatars, which we can use for, the tech forum last year when our CEO was introduced. He was introduced by one person who was suffering from ALS disease. And through her eye coordination, she announced the CEOs, the coming into the thing. So that's an avatar usage. And then also for the Alzheimer's, AI actually, Alzheimer's intelligence is another application, such applications, where very uniquely positioned for folks who are suffering from Alzheimer's and dementia, right, which is significantly increasing, and it's a big issue. So very personalized care can be given within such solutions, actually. So Lenovo is very excited to be part of this.
Madhu, let me come to you, because basis what has been discussed so far, the promise is great in terms of what AI can deliver. But we want to understand more from the Apollo 24/7 side as to how, say, predictive analytics is being used to personalize patient treatments and, of course, predict health outcomes. Because as we mentioned, there's the predictive aspect and there's the curative aspect. Take us through the dynamics at play.
Yeah, so I'll take a specific example, right? So because we deal with primary care, and one of the biggest problems that people face in primary care is chronic condition management, right? Because India is kind of called the diabetic disease capital of the world, cardiac disease capital of the world, which means, let's say if we believe the numbers, 100 million plus people are suffering from these kind of conditions in the country. So even though these conditions have been known for a long time, if you actually go to a doctor, typically they'll say, okay, take some medication, manage your diet well,
standard
reduce
operating
stress, do a good lifestyle. But the problem is that practically doesn't work for most people, because they would not know what exactly that means on the ground, right? What is this good diet? My mother has been diabetic for 40 years, and I think she still doesn't know what essentially a good diet is. Now, with the advent of technology and essentially AI in particular, the opportunity to truly personalize diet, sleep, activity for individuals so that it works well for them, that is actually something that is really practical today, right? As an example, it's not the case that 8 hours of sleep is correct for everybody, right? For some people, even if you sleep 6 hours, it might be okay. For some of them, it might really shoot up your sugar levels, right? And similarly, if I take a practical example, like for me, if I eat like a chapati, it spikes my sugar, but if I eat a puri, it doesn't. So obviously, each body
person has a unique signature, right, when it comes
and
to their response.
A combination of home devices plus combination of ability to use that data to do this analysis, one can actually create something that is highly personalized, which is practical, which fits in with the regular lifestyle that a person follows, and hence really reduce the incidence and at least manage the essentially the non-communicable disease that is there in India.
At least you feel you are in control, because once you see the data in front of you, it also acts as an initiator of action. Because as you mentioned, if I see that certain foods are spiking my sugar, I have data to back that up so that I can avoid and see which foods work for me. So I love the fact that it's all contextualized outcomes, creating a meaningful network effect of behavior as we go along in this journey. Well, let's look at how the research sector is evolving. Satish, if you can give us an overview of how Lenovo is supporting AI-driven pharmaceutical research, because there's a lot of application there as well.
Pharmaceutical is big in India, so yeah, absolutely. There is a big R&D, especially takes the biggest dent we can make is in R&D. About 25 to 30% of efficiency which we can bring in. Pharmaceuticals getting into a lot of these early therapies developments as well as vaccines. Significant deployment of our infrastructure gets done, the technology gets used, and various tiers of technologies. So that is pretty significant. And similarly, on the drug making as well, there is a lot of clinical trials and efficiencies, efficacy of some of these drugs, early indicators, any issues might crop up, predictive part of it, with that, as the trial progress. That's a huge value one can get, and then it improves the efficiency as well. The sooner we can get some of these drugs to the market as well. So a lot of the what this is doing is pushing a lot of our technology to the forefront as well. So we are using a very HPC or the mainstream servers which deploy a lot of the advanced technologies like Neptune, which is an advanced cooling system, and also a very tailor-made solution can be applied.
All right, Madhu, let me get your response to this, because Apollo 24/7 has been working with AI models to streamline patient engagement and support pharmaceutical decision making. So if you can share some insights on how AI is influencing pharmaceutical research and real-world applications in the Apollo ecosystem.
Right. Again, the context for that is India is not really a drug research market. Okay, so essentially it's mainly generics. But having said that, at Apollo 24/7, we deal with for example, our patient ecosystem is 150 million plus, right? Because we have large number of pharmacies, hospitals, clinics, diagnostic centers, so on and so forth. So some of the things that many people might not realize is drugs work differently for different people, right? So one can consider that as like a phase 3 and a phase 4 kind of clinical trial, where one really, is really on a real world looking at what works under what condition for what kind of patient, right? So things like that are possible with the kind of work that we do. But personally, on my teams, we don't do a lot of work directly on pharmaceuticals. But having said that, the data that we deal with can be really used for many of those kind of phase 3 and phase 4 type of clinical trials.
Fantastic. I love that optimistic note. And we're just scratching the surface. But as they say, Satish, with great power comes great responsibility. So how is Lenovo addressing these challenges and ensuring AI is deployed responsibly in healthcare, which is a very highly regulated sector anyhow?
Yeah, that's a great point, because great responsibility lies in the great technology, right? So Lenovo is taking quite seriously this aspect as well. Then one of the challenges which we are dealing with is how do we make technology very accessible? How does it go to the care point, which is in the quite rural area, or very so they are edge technologies which can actually take a lot of these decisions at the care point itself. That's an advantage which we're trying to roll out in some of our product lines. So there is multiple ways. We have the hybrid AI, which is partly on premise and partly on the cloud. So that methodologies has worked out very well for us, because they can safeguard some of this data on the on-premise data, and then rest of it, actually, the model you can work with the outside world. So that has been very...
so the hybrid model works into making sure that the governance requirements are taken care of. And similarly, I think some of these protocols, the security protocols, we are really working hard on deploying that within our products at every level. So that is a significant part as well. And also there is within AI itself, there are methods where we can safeguard the data, but you can work on these models with the other organizations. So we're working on sandboxing it. So that's another area which we are focused on as well. So lots of possibilities.
A lot of possibilities.
All right, Madhu, let me get your perspective on what should healthcare providers keep in mind from an ethical and regulatory perspective when they are implementing these AI-driven solutions. As a large healthcare provider yourself, what are your top 3 priorities on this?
So I think, of course, us being a part of Apollo, we've been in healthcare business for 40 plus years. So the bar, what we understand is the bar that is there for the efficacy of AI-based healthcare solution is quite high, right? Unlike in other industries where maybe you can have things that are working not so well in the beginning and time can kind of fix it. That is not really a choice in many of the things.
That's especially true in your case, because it takes years to build trust and just moments to lose it.
So what we do is essentially first thing is most of these tools are enablers for clinical providers, right? Whether it's physicians, nurses, so on and so forth, right? So at the end of the day, while it can give great suggestions, a decision has to be taken by someone who is actually qualified and certified to do that, right? And we have things for consumers also, but we go to a great extent to build guardrails to ensure that there is absolutely no information that is given to them that could harm them in any way and be as helpful as possible. So it's a little tricky, and nowhere else in the world has actually this worked at scale. So we'll be one of the first countries, I think, where we can truly use AI to make an impact.
We are the innovation incubator for the world.
Yeah, but that's a fantastic opportunity for all of us. Yeah,
absolutely. And the keyword opportunity that you have given us allows me to segue to my last question, which is the opportunities that you see unraveling as this AI revolution in healthcare builds steam. So for 2025 and of course the year ahead, some key trends that you observe, both of you observe, as taking the headlines. So maybe Satish, we'll get your perspective and then Madhu can join in.
Yeah, I think one of it is actually, I definitely see, it'll transform from the hype to actually the reality. So, there was a lot of hype around models, and but the reality will set in, and we need to really look at the policies and the capacity of the hospitals and organizations, and so that's where I think a lot of the diagnostics, they will trickle down. More adaptation will happen. I mean, already the 50% of the healthcare leaders are already thinking AI. I think it'll be a lot more going.
Lots of food for thought for our viewers. Madhu, your key trends that you see. We heard purpose with profit at least being summarized as part of some of the key trends which are evolving. From your perspective as a bird's eye view, what are the key headlines that you see coming out of this space?
Yeah. I think two key things are going to happen. One is, if you look at healthcare today, most of technology is being done at, let's say, maybe top 5% of enterprises that are there, right? I think that will change. In the sense, like, democratization of access to technology for enterprises will happen, which means that a 20-bedded hospital or a nursing home will be able to use as good a technology as an Apollo or a Manipal and so on and so forth will be doing, right? So that's one side. The second side is technology percolation, especially if you look at internet technology. While there's a lot of hype about, 800 million people have internet and so on and so forth, reality is that maybe 60, 70, 80 million people are the ones who actually use these kind of technology on a daily or a monthly basis. Now, one of the reasons behind that is, people aren't familiar with using apps and so on and so forth. So AI is going to actually also change that. We truly take that to the Bharat scale, where you can really interface with voice, you can interface with WhatsApp, you can interface with whatever mechanism you want. Having fluid ability to kind of do that will also make adoption at scale, right? So those are two things, both from an enterprise level and a consumer level, which I see it's going to happen in the next few years.
And I certainly hope so. From a democratization of data perspective, as this regionalization drive goes up, the next billion users truly come on stream in the context of the outcomes that we all imagine, rather than just being a statistic, as you mentioned, appearing as internet enabled. We want the outcomes to be enabled, not just the access to the bandwidth. Well, that brings us to the end of today's discussion, and what a wide-ranging discussion it has been. We've covered how AI is revolutionizing diagnostics, advancing personalized medicine, expediting drug discovery, and shaping the future of healthcare. For you, the viewers, some key takeaways from today's conversation include AI's role in enhancing diagnostics and medical imaging, the shift towards personalized medicine and predictive analytics for better patient outcomes, AI's potential to accelerate drug discovery and optimize research, and the importance of ethical and regulatory considerations in AI adoption. We call it TLDR in the modern lingo. Well, a huge thank you to both you, Satish, and to you, Madhu, for sharing your insights on this topic. And well, AI is not just enhancing healthcare, it's revolutionizing how we approach medicine and patient care. This is Gautam Srinivasan signing off from Lenovo Presents Smarter AI, Transforming India, in association with ETCIO and Times Techies. Stay informed, stay innovative, and stay ahead in the AI-powered future.